Beneath the surface of the internet lies a maze of unsettling secrets. These eerie mysteries prove that the web can be just as dark and disturbing as the real world. Number 15. Have you ever heard "Everyone Knows That" and wondered where it came from? In October 2021, a mysterious 17-second synth-pop snippet surfaced on the song identification site What's That Song? The poster claimed they had found the sample on an old hard drive, and soon, internet sleuths across Reddit, YouTube, and Discord became obsessed with one question: who made this song? The clip, filled with lush synthesizers, punchy drums, and an unmistakably 1980s vibe, felt authentic, too good to be a hoax. It sounded like something lost from the era of Depeche Mode and a-ha. But no matter how many lyric guesses or audio matches were run through software, no one could find a full version, a band name, or even a working lead. The snippet exploded in popularity. What's That Song's original post became the site's most commented mystery, and a subreddit dedicated to the search gained thousands of followers. Wild theories began to form. Some thought it might be an unreleased TV theme song. Others believed it could be AI generated to stir chaos. A few even speculated it was an elaborate marketing stunt. Yet, no concrete answers emerged for years. Then, in April 2024, the mystery finally cracked. A Reddit user named South Pole Ball traced the snippet back to a 1986 adult film titled Angels of Passion. The music was composed by twin brothers Christopher St. Booth and Philip Adrian Booth. The confirmation sent shockwaves through the internet. The Guardian later called it one of the most enduring musical mysteries of the online era. When reached, the Booth brothers were stunned by the online attention. Christopher recounted that his son told him, "Dad, you're a legend on the internet now." The brothers had recorded the song decades ago, but never released it commercially. Inspired by the renewed interest, they returned to the studio, re-recorded missing parts, and officially released the full version under its original title, Ulterior Motives, in June 2024. Fans were ecstatic. Synthpop and Lost Wave communities celebrated the resurrection of a hidden gem, and TikTok users flooded the app with dance clips and tributes. What had started as a nearly 3-year wild goose chase ended in the triumphant revival of a long-forgotten track. In a digital age flooded with information, sometimes a single obscure melody can still unite people across platforms and continents. Ulterior Motives is no longer a mystery. It's a testament to the persistence of online communities and the strange magic of forgotten art rediscovered. Number 14. In the summer of 1994, something strange began unfolding in the digital shadows of the early internet. As Pink Floyd's The Division Bell toured the world, a series of cryptic messages began appearing on the Usenet group alt.music.pinkfloyd. They came from an anonymous user calling themselves Publius, who claimed that the album held a hidden puzzle, one designed by the band itself. The messages were vague but tantalizing. "A puzzle lies hidden within," Publius wrote. "Its solution will lead to a unique prize. Only one person can claim it." Naturally, fans were skeptical. Was this a prank, a bored fan, or perhaps the real thing? Then came the proof. At a Pink Floyd concert on July 18th, 1994, at Giant Stadium in New Jersey, the words "Enigma Publius" appeared in bright white lights across the stage, seemingly confirming the mystery's legitimacy. Publius had promised to sign at that show, and the band, or someone with access, delivered. Suddenly it wasn't just internet chatter, something real was happening. More clues followed. At another show in London's Earl's Court, the word Enigma appeared in the lighting display. Fans began analysing the division bell down to the second. Its lyrics, its cover art, even Morse code embedded in the liner notes. Theories spun wildly, secret messages about communication, spiritual enlightenment, the end of time. Some fans became obsessed, but Pink Floyd remained silent for years. In a 2002 interview, guitarist David Gilmour dismissed the entire thing as a silly record company thing. But in 2005, drummer Nick Mason contradicted that slightly, saying the puzzle had been conceived by EMI and was supposed to include a charitable prize, though no winner was ever announced. So, was the Publius Enigma real? Yes, in that it clearly happened, with stage clues, cryptic messages, and involvement from official channels. But was it ever solvable? That's where things get murky. In retrospect, some view it as an early example of an ARG, an alternate reality game, well before the term existed. Others compare it to the framework of modern conspiracy puzzles like QAnon, mysterious, anonymous figures dropping clues, followers dissecting meaning, and a promise of revelation just out of reach. Even today, 30 years later, fans still scour the messages, the music, the meaning. The Publius Enigma wasn't just a mystery, it became a mirror, reflecting how far people will go for a sense of discovery. In the end, there was no clear answer, no confirmed solution, just a legacy of whispers, wonder, and a flashing sign on a concert stage that still has fans asking, what was the prize, and who, if anyone, solved it? Number 13. At first glance, Kanye Quest 3013 looks like a joke, an indie RPG from 2013, where Kanye West time travels to the year 3030 to fight cloned rappers like Lil B and resurrect hip-hop glory. It's quirky, meme-worthy, and full of tongue-in-cheek humour, but dig a little deeper and this bizarre game turns downright unsettling. Hidden within the code was a secret path, one you'd never stumble across unless you typed a specific word. Ascend. Do that, and the light-hearted rapper showdown suddenly vanishes. You're dropped into a stark room, faced with cryptic computer terminals, distorted text, and a strange organization called Ascensionism. The game starts asking questions, personal ones. Then it urges you to ascend, to leave the material world behind, and upload your consciousness. No longer a Kanye West parody. The game shifts into something much darker, a rabbit hole of philosophical language, creepy metaphors, and warnings that your data may be collected. Players who found the path were torn. Was this a real cult posing as a game, or just an edgy ARG? In 2015, Kotaku ran an expose called "For 2 Years, the Kanye West RPG was hiding a disturbing secret." That article sent players rushing to decompile the game's files. They uncovered hidden symbols, QR codes, and an elaborate structure that seemed too intense to be random. Then, almost a decade later, the mystery resurfaced. In 2022, Australian comedians Cameron James and Alexei Toliopoulos released a 6-part documentary series called Finding Jesus. They tracked the game's origin to an artist named Clara Hope from Adelaide. She admitted she'd written the Ascensionism part years earlier as a kind of digital art project, philosophical, weird, but not intended to manipulate anyone. So, no cult, no Kanye endorsement, just a surreal hybrid of fan game and performance art that took on a life of its own. Still, Kanye Quest 3030 stands out as one of the weirdest internet rabbit holes of all time. It showed how a seemingly innocent parody could morph into something eerie and unforgettable, and it reminded everyone how easily curiosity, speculation, and the internet can turn pixels into paranoia. Number 12. In early January 2012, an anonymous image quietly appeared on 4chan. No flashy graphics, no context, just a black background, a white serif font, and a cryptic message. We are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. It was signed with a mysterious number, 3301. At first, most users thought it was a prank, but when someone decoded a hidden message inside the image using steganography, a technique that hides data within other data, it revealed a URL. That URL led to a whole series of mind-bending puzzles, and with that, the legend of Cicada 3301 was born. The puzzles weren't just hard, they were absurdly difficult. Solvers had to crack everything from Caesar ciphers to Mayan numerals to obscure literary references, clues stretched across Reddit threads, Linux file trees, cryptographic hashes, and even GPS coordinates. At one point, people found physical posters taped to lampposts in cities across the globe: Tokyo, Paris, Sydney, Warsaw, each stamped with the Cicada logo and another clue. For months, a growing online community obsessed over the puzzles. They called themselves Cicada Hunters, and some dedicated their lives to solving the next step, but those who made it to the end found silence. The final clue led to a private Tor address, and only a select few gained access. The rest of the world was left guessing. So what was the point? Was this an elaborate game? An art project? A recruitment tool? Theories flooded in. Some thought it was a government agency, like the NSA or MI6, looking to find the best cryptographers in the world. Others believed it was a secret society with goals tied to privacy, data freedom, or even digital ascension. One supposed participant told Rolling Stone that the group's purpose was to promote liberty, privacy, and security. But no one ever confirmed who was behind it. The puzzles returned in 2013 and again in 2014, but with even more complexity and less transparency. Then, in 2017, a final message was posted, signed with Cicada's verified PGP key, saying they had abandoned the mission. But to this day, people still search for clues. Cicada 3301 wasn't just a puzzle, it was a phenomenon. It inspired cryptography students, fueled conspiracy theories, and blurred the line between game and reality. It wasn't about fame or money. There was no prize. It was about intellect, discipline, and a test of whether you could go deeper than anyone else. And if Cicada ever returns, will you try to solve it? Number 11. In March 2015, a YouTube channel named Unfavorable Semicircle quietly appeared. 5 days later, it began uploading bizarre videos, silent frames of brown backgrounds, abstract colored pixels, and distorted audio of men reciting random letters or numbers. Some clips lasted just a few seconds, others stretched out to astonishing lengths. One ran silent for 11 hours. What truly captured people's fascination, though, wasn't just the odd visuals, it was the sheer volume, about 2 to 3 uploads every 2 minutes, amassing tens of thousands of videos in mere months. The Reddit community r/Unfavorable Semicircle formed to decode what looked like an offline puzzle, while YouTube views climbed steadily. Theories emerged like wildfire. Some suggested number station-style communications. Others suspected a YouTube stress test, like the engine behind WebDriver Torso. But cybersecurity expert Alan Woodward dismissed that, calling it too complex to be mere testing. Others argued it might be a full-blown ARG or digital recruitment puzzle, akin to Cicada 3301. Then, media attention skyrocketed. In February 2016, Atlas Obscura and the BBC published stories branding it YouTube's strangest mystery, and soon after, the channel was suspended for TOS violations. Fans pushed back, uncovering hidden clues in the video frames, overlaying silent landscapes to reveal grainy visuals of satellites and text from Wikipedia entries. The audio streams were tested for glitches tied to Android vulnerabilities, and two particularly intriguing videos, titled Lock and Delock, sparked rumors they were keys to inspiration or encryption. In June 2022, the anonymous creator finally broke silence via a Twitter account, revealing that Unfavorable Semicircle was not a test channel, not a troll, but an outsider art experiment. The goal? To upload the most number of YouTube videos ever, inviting viewers into a space of unexplained visuals and indescribable sounds. Despite the revelation, the mystery remains layered. Some traces vanished, others mutated across platforms. The creator has never revealed their identity, and believers continue to theorize hidden codes, and that maybe, just maybe, there's still something meaningful hidden inside all that noise. Number 10. In early 2025, a flashy new AI chatbot named Deepseek burst onto the scene. Proudly developed in China, it claimed to match ChatGPT's smarts at a fraction of the cost, but behind the hype, Deepseek sparked something bigger, a global alarm about privacy, data ethics, and digital sovereignty. By February, Italy, Australia, Taiwan, and South Korea had already blocked Deepseek on government devices or banned app downloads altogether. Regulators cited vague but serious concerns: hidden data gathering, potential links to Chinese intelligence, and non-compliance with local privacy laws. Even US agencies like NASA, the Pentagon, and congressional offices issued internal warnings to steer clear. Then came the headlines. On June 25th, 2025, Congress introduced the No Adversarial AI Act, seeking to ban foreign-developed AI tools, including Deepseek, from federal agencies. A senior US security official publicly accused Deepseek of aiding China's military and intelligence, even using shell companies to acquire restricted NVIDIA chips. American politicians quickly followed. Texas, Tennessee, New York, and several others also declared state-level bans for government networks. Experts who examined Deepseek's code painted a grim picture. A Bloomberg and CNBC-backed security review revealed glaring vulnerabilities, chat histories, API keys, and system logs were exposed in plain sight. Privacy watchdogs flagged its censorship patterns, a bias toward pro-China messaging, and suppression of topics like human rights or Taiwan. Critics warn using Deepseek isn't just risky, it's reckless. Bruce Schneier, a cyber privacy thinker, said it showed no priority around security or privacy, while national leaders called it a weapon in the CCP's arsenal. Why this matters? Deepseek isn't merely one AI app, it's a flashpoint. It exposed how AI can be weaponized through bias, data exploitation, or geopolitical control. The ban sparked a global debate. Should countries treat foreign AI tools like strategic threats? As the world races into AI-driven futures, Deepseek became a test case. How do we balance innovation with caution, openness with sovereignty, trust with risk? Number 9. Sometimes the internet gives us mysteries we can't quite shake, and Chipchan is one of the most haunting. For over a decade, a woman in South Korea has streamed near constant footage of her apartment. Many watch as she sleeps in odd positions, holds up handwritten Korean signs, or sits in silence for hours. To viewers, it feels like watching someone suspended in both time and reality. The story began around 2006, when a user browsing unsecured webcams on 4chan discovered her feed. They found her motionless, mid-slumber on a chair, and thought she was dead. But she awoke, waved a homemade sign, and staked her presence on the internet forever. She refers to herself as Chipchan, though her real name remains unknown. According to translated signs and her blogs, she claims ownership of a verichip implanted in her body by someone she calls P, a corrupt police officer. She says P controls her electrically, forces her into deep sleep, and monitors her thoughts. Her apartment becomes a cryptic confession booth. She tapes up warnings like, "Don't be fooled, P may paralyze me early, every morning," every message an appeal for help. Despite this, Chipchan occasionally leaves her space, in disguise, masked and hooded. It raises the question, is she truly captive, or just a recluse seeking privacy? Mental health is a leading hypothesis. Many experts and Reddit users believe she may suffer from paranoid schizophrenia or delusional disorder, perhaps triggered or exacerbated by solitude. Still, some streets believe it's an elaborate piece of performance art, and yes, the ambiguity keeps drawing viewers. Through the years, fans have tried to help. Some reported her to the South Korean police, hoping for intervention. Local caretakers have occasionally appeared on camera, stirring a mix of relief and concern. But she streams on, with occasional bruises and sores fueling further alarm about self-harm. The stream shifted over time. Her marathon 30-hour sleep sessions have shortened, but the silence remains unsettling. Sometimes she reappears with fresh wounds under fluorescent light, or buried in signs that beg for belief. In an age when lives are shared in bits and bobs online, Chipchan's content feels primordial, raw, real, and disturbing. She doesn't craft her image, she broadcasts her existence, and it leaves us questioning, is this a plea from someone who needs help, a cry for attention, or an unintentional mirror to our own voyeurism? Number 8. Imagine typing in a dark, hidden URL and downloading a horror game so unsettling you feel like it's staring back at you. That's the story of Sad Satan, a hidden horror game that surfaced on a deep web forum around mid-2015. No official creator, no storefront, just whispers and screens of pixelated horrors shared in private chat rooms. It all began when a YouTuber named Obscure Horror Corner claimed to have found the game on tour. He posted gameplay clips showing warped visuals, shattered corridors, strange symbols, and scratchy audio samples of children crying or chanting. One particularly infamous scene featured a blurry figure twitching unnervingly in the corner of a dim hallway. Viewers were horrified, but that only made the mystery more magnetic. What kind of game mixed distorted soundscapes with potential child abuse imagery? Screenshots and commentary hinted at illegal content embedded in the game's files, and versions supposedly found later were infected with malware that harvested personal data and cryptocurrency keys. Speculation exploded. Was Sad Satan created by a malicious creator looking to scare end users, a deranged artist using dark media to test horror's outer limits, or part of something darker like illicit distribution of graphic content? Some players claim they encountered screeching audio of a child being harmed, though none of these claims were ever verified by law enforcement. Then came the inevitable collapse. The original obscure horror corner video vanished, the game links died, and most download mirrors dissolved overnight. All that remained were fragmented accounts, screen rips on Reddit, and a collection of conspiracy memes. Search Sad Satan later, and you'll find coverage calling it one of the scariest creepypasta legends to leak into the real world. For digital historians, it became a case study in rumour, horror, and the dangers of unregulated corners of the internet. The game was never analysed forensically in court. Nobody knows who built it, or if what we think it showed ever existed beyond screenshotted stories. In the end, Sad Satan feels like a Rorschach test for net paranoia. It taps into our fear of the unknown, where horror isn't just fictional, it's hidden, downloaded, and taken inside your mind. Whether it was malware or myth, the legend lives on, reminding us to be wary of what lurks in the unindexed depths of the web. Number 7. In March 2009, a groundbreaking cybersecurity revelation shocked the world. Ghostnet, a sprawling cyber espionage network infecting over 1,200 computers across 103 countries, all without the world realizing it. Developed not by pranksters, but by determined researchers from the University of Toronto Citizen Lab and the Information Warfare Monitor, this covert operation was swiftly dubbed Ghostnet. The discovery began when the Tibetan government, in exile, requested investigations into possible hacking. Citizens at the Dalai Lama's office reported suspicious activity. Researchers traced emails with malicious attachments. Once opened, they installed a Trojan called Ghostnet, RAT, which granted hackers remote control over webcams, microphones, and files. High-value targets were hit early: embassies, foreign ministries, media offices, NGOs, and the Dalai Lama's labs. 1/3 of infiltrated systems fell into that elite category. Commands were relayed from control servers based almost exclusively in Hainan, China, a province known for signals intelligence. China's government quickly denied involvement, calling the allegations Cold War paranoia and accusing researchers of BIA. But researchers noted that although attribution in cyber espionage remains notoriously difficult, the targeting patterns and infrastructure strongly suggested state-linked activity. Ghostnet marked an inflection point in digital security. It showed how online infiltration could mirror Cold War tactics: email-based Trojan infiltration, real-time surveillance, and exfiltration of classified information from diplomatic networks. Once presumed safe, embassies and NGOs were now wide open to silent observation. Despite the evidence, researchers remained cautious. They labelled the operation an advanced, persistent threat, acknowledging the possibility of freelance hackers or patriotic individuals in China acting solo. Still, nobody ruled out state sponsorship, and the sophistication and scale made purely independent actors unlikely. In the years since, Ghostnet has inspired follow-ups like the Shadow Network, exposed in 2010, revealing similar Chinese-linked campaigns targeting Indian embassies and the Dalai Lama again. The incident permanently altered government cybersecurity strategies and confirmed the sense that cyberspace had become the new frontier of espionage. Number 6. They call it Red Mist, and it's one of the internet's most infamous creepypasta legends, a supposedly lost SpongeBob SquarePants episode where Squidward descends into madness, ends his own life, and the screen flashes horrifying images. Legends say it aired once, then vanished forever. It began around the late 2000s, when horror enthusiasts shared whispered tales, cartoon footage unspooled, Squidward practices clarinet, laughs in the audience, then the screen fades to red. Suddenly, Squidward appears with hyper-realistic red eyes, eerie sobbing echoes, and whispers of a face-off with a creepily Scottish salesman telling him the red mist is coming. Then comes the infamous single frame of a mutilated child, only glimpsed for an instant, before the episode ends in suicidal violence. It's a nightmare in 5 seconds. Behind it all is the infamous Squidward suicide creepypasta, which claimed Nickelodeon accidentally aired it as a joke nod to fan horror, a gag that was promptly pulled by network standards. Online storytellers elaborated, interns traumatized, evidence confiscated, animators in legal limbo. But none of it was ever substantiated. Video vanishings followed. YouTube horror channels posted grainy reconstructions, only to have them deleted. Reddit threads lit up with screenshots titled Red Mist, and forums debated whether those single frames were real or synthesized. Skeptics later weighed in. Animation insiders called the story a perfect example of a self-deleting creepypasta, designed to vanish so you doubt whether it ever existed. Fandom wikis dissected the myth, pointing out inconsistencies, no network records, no reliable eyewitnesses, no physical tapes handed over to police. Still, the trauma lingers. Search Red Mist on YouTube today, and you'll find countless breakdown videos exploring lost frames, dissecting possible sound effects, and debating whether that scene haunted an entire generation. The fear isn't just nostalgia, it's the digital version of maybe it did air. In a world where media is copied, dissected, and re-uploaded, the story stands out because nothing consistent remains. No full episode, no press confirmation, just fragments and fear. Red Mist is a glitch in our collective memory, as real as we dare to believe, but just intangible enough to slip away. At its heart, Red Mist is less about the episode itself and more about how a simple internet story can warp reality, leaving us wondering if we witnessed something forbidden or if it was all a terrifying trick. Number 5. The internet can connect marginalized voices and sometimes amplify extremes. Radqueer began in niche corners of Reddit and Discord, championing radical or lesser-known queer identities, but over time it grew into a flashpoint, pushing boundaries in ways that sparked intense debate about consent, ethics, and the limits of online inclusion. What started as a celebration of unconventional genders evolved into something darker. In radical queer circles, some members began advocating acceptance of paraphilias like minor attraction, justified by appeals to diversity of identity. They argued any systemic labeling as wrong was simply oppressive, challenging society's most basic norms. That shift didn't just rile up parents, it set off alarms among psychologists and LGBTQ+ advocates. One viral Reddit comment from our fake disorder cringe laid it bare. Nah, if you honestly think 13-year-olds can consent, you deserve to be completely cut off from society. Gee, it sparked fierce backlash. Supporters defended the movement, saying it was about destigmatization, self-identification, and queer liberation beyond narrow boxes. They saw themselves as challenging mainstream LGBTQ+ norms that exclude anyone who doesn't fit a tidy mold. But detractors argued tolerance has limits, especially when it risks normalizing exploitative or illegal behavior. The mainstream media took notice. Outlets described Radqueer as a shadowy subculture, where even purported allies found themselves on edge. That led to a wave of polarizing coverage, applauding radical identity expression on one side, warning of slippery slopes on the other. By 2023, the controversy reached peak visibility. Podcasts and think pieces ran deep dives into how the community formed, spread on fringe platforms, Tumblr, FetLife, encrypted chats, and splintered over ideological debates. The key tension? Consent and ethics. Critics say Radqueer blurred that line, confusing personal identity with protection of minors and non-consenting individuals. Supporters replied that critics were ignoring nuance, that embracing radical identities isn't the same as endorsing illegal acts. Today, Radqueer isn't dead, but it exists on the edges, banned Discord servers, shady podcasts, and private invite-only blogs. Some see it as a necessary challenge to rigid LGBTQ+ boundaries. Others see it as a cautionary tale about the erasure of common moral ground in the name of identity politics. Ultimately, whether freedom of identity includes all identities, or whether some must be constrained for communal safety, Radqueer forces us to ask, how far can inclusion go before it becomes dangerous? Number 4. The internet is fueled by attention, but sometimes it ignites chaos. Meet Tia Billinger, better known as Bonnie Blue, a British adult content creator whose extreme challenge stunts shocked millions and forced a reckoning on online boundaries. Bonnie started as a cam model after moving from Derbyshire to Australia, leaving behind a 9-to-5 recruitment job. She switched to OnlyFans and quickly found explosive success. She claimed to earn over £600,000 a month before she was banned, thanks to stunts few could ignore. Her most infamous claim came in early 2025 when she announced she'd slept with 1,057 men in 12 hours, apparently breaking a world record. Scenes from the event made headlines: bruised men in balaclavas, queues snaking around clubs, and Bonnie herself crowning it the ultimate challenge. An Ofcom complaint followed her appearance on This Morning, with critics accusing mainstream media of normalizing hypersexualization. Then came an even more controversial stunt, a so-called petting zoo, where Bonnie planned to be tied up in a glass box with 2,000 men during a London event. Critics blasted it as exploitative, some saying it promoted rape culture. Despite her broadcasting it as consensual, public uproar reached fever pitch. By mid-June 2025, OnlyFans pulled the plug. The company cited violations of its acceptable use policy. Extreme challenge content is not permitted, effectively cancelling her near $1 million income. Meanwhile, tabloids and entertainment outlets piled on. Critics painted Bonnie as a symptom of the stunt economy, those who exploit virality at any cost. One columnist called her a bleak indictment of modern fame, likening her glass box proposal to a twisted form of bread and circuses. Others compared her to performance artists like David Blaine or Marina Abramovich, using their bodies for shocking spectacle, but Bonnie repurposed those tactics for pornography. And yes, there were consequences. News of her alleged exploits sparked outrage, relationship fallout, and renewed questions about consenting minors. Reports noted involvement of barely legal students during Freshers' Week, and worried voices demanded extra scrutiny. Yet Bonnie remains unapologetic. She's joked about the petting zoo being not so bad, and moved on with a bold, defiant posture, staying true to her promise to outpace public expectations. But now, she's banned from the platform that made her so famous. She plans documentaries and podcasts, but the £1 million payday is gone. Her family stands by her, but the attention economy has exacted its toll. Number 3, they say children's playgrounds should be safe, and Roblox, with its millions of daily users, was meant to be the digital version. But behind the blocky avatars and virtual fun lurks a darker reality, a grooming crisis targeting kids through chat, voice calls, and DMs. When a Bloomberg investigation dropped in spring 2024, it laid bare predators exploiting Roblox's open chat system. They use sexualized avatars, free currency offers, and consistent one-on-one invites to lure kids into side chats or even voice calls before slipping contact information or personal details to arrange meetups outside the game. The report found many predators created multiple accounts to stalk and groom vulnerable teens. Roblox's response introduced policy updates like age-based chat limits, automated filters, and parental controls. But critics argue these measures are too little, too late, especially when a single human review takes around 5 hours for a single flagged message. With millions of users, only about 3,000 moderators are available to monitor and respond. That's a staggering gap. Legal consequences followed. In California, a teenager accused his ex-girlfriend's new partner of grooming him via Roblox before arranging meetings outside of the platform. In one case, a 13-year-old victim was lured into a car after exchanging messages in-game. These examples show it's not just scary stories, it's real life. Even advocacy groups took notice. The National Center on Sexual Exploitation said Roblox's voice chat feature poses great risk and urged its removal until safeguards were strong enough. Their position sparked debates ranging from free speech to child safety. Roblox eventually responded. In summer 2024, the company rolled out voice chat restrictions, stricter message scans, and an in-game reporting system. They also introduced Guardian avatars, profiles that broadcast a player's safety settings, alerting kids when they're chatting with adults. But parents and experts say these fixes don't fix the root problem. The tension spills over into lawsuits. Multiple legal actions allege Roblox failed to protect children, with plaintiffs claiming the platform ignored obvious warning signs and sold parents a false sense of security. Pending cases in multiple states could force Roblox to change for good. As a result, users have begun leaving. Some parents call Roblox untrustworthy, and watchdogs created rival apps marketed as safer play zones with enhanced moderator teams and delayed chat features. Meanwhile, Roblox Corporation announced plans for an external safety council and funding for child protection research, a promising step if genuine commitment follows. At its heart, Roblox's predator problem is a lesson in scale. Technology connects kids in unprecedented ways, but without serious protections, that connection becomes a liability. Trust isn't built with filters or badges. It's built through transparency, accountability, and the courage to confront the dark corners of virtual worlds. Number 2. On May 2nd, 2025, a tweet appeared from a young creator known online as @Burnt Fishy, a single photo of St. John's Bridge in Portland, captioned simply, "It's a pretty view." Hours later, in the comments, she added 4 chilling words, "Long way down." Behind that serene image lay a deeper, more heartbreaking story, and a thread that would unravel a community. Born Charlotte Fosgate, 17-year-old Burnt Fishy was a vibrant member of the Sonic modding world. Under the alias Charcoal, she spent years crafting mods for Sonic Frontiers and Sonic X Shadow Generations, earning respect and friendships on Discord servers and forums. She was smart, creative, and openly trans, a beacon for quiet, curious kids seeking connection. But then, the messages stopped. Worry swept through her online circles. Friends launched a search, and local authorities responded. 9 days later, her body was found near the same bridge. Officials concluded she'd taken her own life, though her death remains a quiet echo of larger pain. What followed was a wave of grief and fury. Some X, formerly Twitter, users responded with transphobic slurs and cruel memes. Others posted memorial art and heartfelt tributes. In one viral comment, a Sonic Stadium user noted, "What they made fun of her death. Feel disgustingly disrespectful. A life is a life." Online forums sparked broader reflection. Burnt Fishy's family and friends invited public mourning, calling for mental health awareness and LGBTQ+ support. The Sonic hacking contest paused its events in her honor, starting live streams with dedications to Charcoal, her memory woven back into the world she loved. Her story speaks to a greater crisis. Suicide rates among trans youth are tragically high, especially when mental health resources are scarce or support is unavailable. A 2019 report revealed that trans teens are nearly 10 times more likely to suffer from depression and suicidal thoughts than their peers. And it's not just statistics, it's Charlotte's voice, silenced too soon. A reminder that creative spaces need safety nets. It's the friend who never came back from the bridge. It's the network of kids who saw their champion vanish. Now, community organizers and mental health advocates are stepping forward, creating campaigns, funding grief counselors, and lobbying for change. Some memory apps are dedicated to Burnt Fishy's mods, while Discord channels host grief support rooms. Even casual gamers are connecting, asking, "Are you okay?" Burnt Fishy's legacy isn't just her code, it's a wake-up call. In fandoms and friendships, online or off, vulnerability matters. Behind every username is a human who hopes to be seen, and sometimes that single glimpse of bridge lights or coded mods isn't enough without someone to ask, "Are you okay?" Number 1. When a new game called No Mercy appeared on Steam early in 2025, It flew under the radar until shocked players realized it simulated non-consensual sexual violence. Immediately, the internet erupted in outrage. On its face, No Mercy was a first-person adult experience. Players entered dimly lit rooms, guided NPCs, and watched as scenes unfolded that mirrored violent assault. Character models lacked agency. Their bodies were controlled entirely by the player. It wasn't erotic, it was exploitative. Media reaction was swift and damning. Journalists called it a digital violation and gameplay abomination. One critic wrote, "Simulating assault, not immersive art, but trauma for hire." The game's Steam page was bombarded with negative reviews and mass reporting for graphic sexual content without consent. Within days, countries began taking action. Germany and New Zealand banned the game outright. Australia prohibited its distribution under obscenity laws, and major app platforms refused to host it or even link to it. Behind the game was a small, anonymous developer. They claimed artistic intent, forcing players to confront the horror of non-consensual sex. But critics weren't buying it. Lawmakers and advocacy groups said the game crossed legal and moral lines. Their argument, interactive sex without consent, is not expression, it's assault by proxy. Social media lit up with heated arguments. Some freedom of speech advocates warned about slippery slopes and censorship. Others called it destructive and a catalyst for removing platforms from voluntary cooperation lists when it came to violent content. Steam wasn't exempt. Within a week, Valve removed No Mercy under its sexual content policy, affecting not just the game but its developer's entire publisher account. The takedown reignited debates over platform power and responsibility. Legal pressure mounted too. In Europe, prosecutors invoked laws against obscene and harmful content to block downloads and seize money. In the US, congressional leaders asked whether laws on simulated sexual violence needed updating. Public awareness campaigns followed. Schools and mental health professionals cited No Mercy as a case study, warning that media normalization of assault, even simulated, can hurt perception of consent. Victim advocacy groups reinforced that digital violence also shapes values and beliefs. Then came the developer's silence. No postmortems, no interviews. The game disappeared completely online, and so did its creators. The endgame? A powerful lesson in how far creative freedom can go before society pushes back. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more.